going through bans, getting into game 1.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this goes. Earlier games today were pretty aggressive, especially compared to what we had seen in Europe. But, I mean, a lot of it still had that kind of dodging and weaving that we've come to see so far in the Winter Championships, too. I think the big question I have going into this is, when is Azuri going to be coming out? Because we've seen, now their name in game is Rayzigher. I'm not sure how to pronounce their name. That's actually Yuki. They played Rayzigher up against Yuz. Game number 1, that didn't work out as well, like, at all. A lot of offstage play that Yuki was not really able to adjust around. The axe didn't find much impact, but then we saw the swap to Azuri afterwards. So I want to see what adjustments can be made after this. And right away, Yuki is changing up the script completely, bringing out the axe and finding so much impact against Ray almost immediately.
Yeah, I mean, we saw earlier that Azuri was just a staple, but when you're starting a set, you have, a couple characters to work with, you can sometimes go with the secondary first. Just try it out, see if it works, and so far, it's pretty back and forth, like no clear-cut person coming out an advantage. Both of them are just kind of feeling each other out.
Yeah, just a lot of poking and prodding right now. This first stock will be one of the more interesting ones, probably the whole series, just to see who can gain that first advantageous situation. But instead, Ray overextend with the signature a little bit more. There we go. Things start to heat up quite literally when we see some of the Rayzigher abilities come on through. Is there a chance for the signature? No, the gravity cancel side sig. Oh, just barely able to make that second, almost third recovery for Yuki, but that's the first stock gone, and now Rayzigher can use this very distinct advantage to just chip away more damage against Yuki.
Yeah, I mean, the timing was perfect there from Ray. Literally just forcing Yuki, no other option. You got to burn all your resources to make it back to the wall. Clean stuff. And really the question is right now, if you're Yuki, how quickly can you close this out?
And remember, this is coming off of Yuki going 0-3 up against Yuz earlier today, and by that I mean almost just like an hour ago. So hopefully enough time to go for that reset, clean things up again, but if this is anything to go by, this isn't looking great for Yuki. They had a strong start, but now that Ray has that lead, we're already looking at Yuki possibly losing the second stock.
Yeah, and doesn't actually get the confirm either. So this first stock from Ray, lasting so long, continuing to survive, got the spear. Yuki throws the weapon. They both said, hey, we don't need this. Mano a mano.
Oh no. Yuki trying to go for these premature reads, but Ray is not having any of it. Able to dodge and weave out of everything without even going for a spot dodge. But finally the recovery comes through when Ray falls, but Yuki's got a long road ahead. Still only barely holding on by that second stock. If they can somehow even the odds or maybe even get a cheeky little KO against Ray, that would have been great, but instead the down air comes through and Ray is now a whole stock ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this has been so much control on Ray's end. I mean, Yuki, to their credit, like, they're managing to find little openings here and there. It's just like, can you close out the stocks? And so far they haven't been able to. Oh my god, Ray going so deep here, the very, very end of that gravity cancel sig, helping Yuki make it back on the stage, but like, I don't know how you come back here.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of Qatars today in South America, but this is rough. I mean, the spear has been a more unique option, at least on stream, but these Qatars, we've seen them everywhere, and they're just having such a hard time finding the entry point going in. But talk about an entry point, Qatars return again, now that we're an even stock line. I mean, it could also just be first game jitters too, this is the opportunity to figure out how Ray plays, the tendencies, and just how the timings work overall. We can already see Yuki warming up quite a bit, but damage was already done. Almost a clean last stock coming out from Rayzigher, but I mean, look, I expect to see a much closer game in game 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, first game jitters, whenever you fight a new opponent, you gotta get their vibe. You do a vibe check for that first game. That's the beauty of best of fives, is that you have the rest of the set to figure out, how do I want to adapt to how to play.
And so we're just gonna see where we go next for game number 2. I mean, I don't really think it's gonna be stage dependent for either one of these players. I think it really just comes down to how much offstage play we could see as well. We've been seeing quite a bit of offstage punishes, not only just in Europe that we covered earlier today, but even in the last block with Polly and Dara, we had seen so much off-stage just potential, and some of it did backfire, but a lot of it was just so much impact for stocks. But even after losing that first game, we had seen this happen before against Yuz. we have now Yuki swapping over away from the Rayzigher back to the Tigress pick. And this works somewhat, and these games were a little bit closer, but I'm curious to see what kind of adjustments can be made from the use loss to now.
I mean, you were expecting the Azuri to come out. So here we finally have the crossover variant in this second game. I mean, the thing about going so aggressive off stage is just like, you saw at the end of that last game, it's such a fine line because you overextend just a little bit, especially for someone like Ray, who's like more than happy to capitalize off of it, and you just lose your stock, you get knocked out, and it's so hard. It's so hard to to walk that tightrope of aggression.
Yeah, and already that tightrope of aggression snaps in half. It's gonna be Yuki to fall, and Ray maintains that lead.
And yet, like, Yuki, you gotta find something here. You're seeing just unarmed, swinging, trying to find some sort of opening. Does get a decent amount of damage. Finds the confirm as well, able to equalize. So a bit more confident in this second game. You know, able to find these openings, able to actually get something off of them, as opposed to what we saw in the first game, which is, again, you know, more of the jitters.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus you get to retain those guitars, so you get that proper timings down. And then the sword should be a big benefit here for Yuki, especially for when it comes to grounded play. But the problem is, Ray just on a big heater, down after down after down air, dance, down air, everywhere you go. And Ray trying to find the finishing move is unable to do so. But so much damage has already been done, and Yuki, forced to be in the back heel now, does have that weapon spawn going right on top of them. Could go to the sword, but decides not to. Tries to go for the ground pound instead, and the big key emphasis there is try. The immediate punch goes down, and another down air Ray. Signature move, not even a signature. The double down air Ray extravaganza gives them a stock lead.
And again, it's like, if you're Yuki, you gotta try. Like, I respect the attempt going off stage, but you're pretty tilted. You get hit by like 5 down airs in a row. There's no way to come out of that like, all right, I'm gonna stay calm and composed. You feel like, oh God, I have to make something happen right now. And we see some of that coming into effect, but Ray just, this brick wall, not giving any sort of chance.
Yeah, and there's no, you know, Coach Keg, Coach Bio, right? There's no real discernible weakness that Ray has right now that Yuki can exploit. I think Ray's been playing a really reactive game, has been having a lot of that oppressive control when they're not playing reactively, and they're really good about not only starting those combos, but they're really good about ending the strings too, and it leaves Yuki on an island. There's not really many opportunities to go for a punish against Ray because of the distance of the spear. You're almost out of options.
Yeah, and I mean, we're seeing little bits of chip damage here and there from Yuki, but that's not enough. You have to make this count right now.
Yeah,
and Ray just slips out.
Speaking of which, so low, so high in damage for this final stock. No weapon to speak of at all. Great spot dodge, but the side air is there. And that's gonna be a 2-0 right now. There's still one last attempt from Yuki to bring this back. And I can't emphasize enough how much of an attempt that needs to be here. Final chance for Yuki here.
And I mean, Yuki's, they're inching their way closer and closer and closer, but do they have enough time? Are they going to be able to actually make that final bit of adaptation to put the game in their favor? Because it was a close game too. Like, it was definitely within the realm of possibility, but you can't let those opportunities slip away from you.
Yeah, I think I would like to see Yuki kind of just go full send. I would love to see a little bit more offstage play that works more beneficially in Yuki's favor. Yeah. I mean, if we want to go back to Europe, we had seen Godly earlier today play a fantastic Azuri offstage. I mean, we've seen so many other Azuris too, but that's one that comes to my mind. Luckily, though, we get to see the swap back to the Rayzigher. I like the Axe going up against Pearl. I think this is a really good counterplay here, but again, relying on the guitars, hopefully trying to bring Ray over towards one side of the stage, off stage or the other. Just gotta watch out for that spear. Ray's spear is nasty, but this is the perfect setup for Yuki right now. Trying to find that confirm. There it is. Gravity cancel and sing, and Ray goes off stage.
And yeah, now we see Ray being the one to overstep. Yuki in the lead considerably for the first time this set. And so now the question is on Ray, you know, how well do you play from behind?
Yeah, and this is a really good litmus test to see, okay, how can Ray catch up here? And again, let's flip it around. I don't think this is impossible for Ray to bring it back either. That spear has been a golden ticket to win this series for Ray. And if they can just hold on to the spear like they are right now, one sidelight and say there again, they may be good to even up the stocks before a lot of damage has been applied. There it is. The setup is there. Almost flawless for the second stock. And recovery goes through. And all right, almost even terrain.
Yeah, not much of a lead. And, you know, down air, down air, down air, down air is very clearly still on the table, as we've seen earlier on. Oh, the very, very final frames of that connecting. Yuki still, like, untouched until that one unarmed hit. They're definitely feeling themselves now. They're definitely starting to get some momentum.
Yeah, I'm really happy about this Axe play. I wonder if we do get to see another game. I'm wondering if we swap away from the Rayzigher to another Axe Legend, but this is the only Axe that Yuki normally plays in officials. Oh, but the read! These gravity cancel reads from Yuki is so good! And there it is, off-stage play yet again, full stock lead for Yuki. After what's happened in this series, what happened last series, you cannot ask for a better setup here for a comeback.
I mean, yeah, you call it perfectly. Like, now that Yuki's starting to go full send-off stage, we're seeing the results of that effort come into full effect. Now, it's not over yet. It's very much not over yet. But you got to be thinking, like, when you win this game, or if you win this game, does my opponent swap characters? Do they swap stages? Like, how are you going to work your way through the rest of the set? Because you got 3 games to win, starting with this one right here.
And look at Yuki's spacing, being able to outmaneuver all the grounded attacks, another gravity cancel, 3 different signatures, 3 different gravity cancels. That one didn't end in a knockout though. A lot of damage still on Ray. One more of those certainly will bring this to game 4. But Ray right now has the perfect opportunity to tie things up, and Yuki loses that second stock. Really good oppression there, making sure that Yuki could not get back onto the stage. This spear needs to be held on. No other weapons will work right now. Yuki does have the axe, trying to go for the aggressive read off of these signatures, and Ray is expecting it, just playing perfect distance.
Yeah, I mean, Yuki's been doing such a good job of reading these dodges this entire game. We're gonna have to see if they get the final one. They do, scooped to the side blast zone. Yuki's on the board. We're going to game 4.
I don't know if we're gonna see an adjustment here coming out from Ray. Now we get to see there will be no legend adjustments here, and I think that's the right move. So far, for 2 games, this has worked for Ray. There's no real reason to swap it up. What I'm hoping to see Bio going into game 4 is that Ray holds on to that spear a little bit longer and maybe tries to play more towards neutral, so we don't get to see as much offstage play. That's going to put Yuki in a very uncomfortable spot where I think Ray could succeed.
Now, my expert analysis here. Spear down air.
Oh, you know what? This is why I get paid the big bucks.
I mean, you saw how effective it was. I'm just saying, like, especially when you have Yuki off stage, like, it's so awkward for Ragnar to try and maneuver your way around that massive range of the spear. So, you know, go back to what was working in the first game. You know, the first 2 games even.
3, 2. Oh, but we're going to a new stage though. And small haven's always interesting because of the blast zones and the platforms itself being the smallest in the game. This could really benefit Yuki a lot, but it could also, you know, benefit the Pearl pick as well. It really comes down to, again, that offstage play, the comfortability. Ray is baiting Yuki down into the offstage, and it's finding a lot of success. Boa's out, and now Yuki's forced to adjust. The down air is there, but it's not enough to have that propulsion to go down to the bottom blast zone. The opposite can be said, though. Yuki's dancing with the devil right now, already very, very low on this first stock, and the spear's finally out.
Yeah, and I mean, so much damage has been built here on Yuki's side. Good dodge to escape, but no weapon versus a bow. It's a tough ask. It's a very tough ask. Yuki does get the guitars. We're gonna see if they can make that edge guard work, but no. Ray's back in control.
Yeah, full stage control up until that little side swipe that we had seen. The attempted gravity cancel doesn't quite connect, but that second signature does. Now the axe versus unarmed. The recovery, if it connects, that'll be the first stock lost. But no, Yuki hesitates and can't find it.
And that back and forth dash dance the 2 of them did, just the one opportunity that presents itself. Ray capitalizes, and now they're the one in the lead. They're building up even more damage. Spear on deck. Yuki still unarmed. Manages to find a confirm into a gravity cancel, but like, you're still in the yellow. It's still pretty dangerous.
A really good start up from Yuki. Keeping Ray at bay. An accidental slip off the stage. Ray's allowed to get that bow back. It's not as powerful as the spear, but Ray was able to find a lot of early damage in this game with the bow and sending Yuki nearly off stage early. And there it is, the neutral game completely in Ray's favor, playing much closer. Their cards to the chest. No signatures are going to connect from Yuki. And there it goes. Weapon throw. Perfect opportunity for the spear to return. Fear now looming the battlefield. It's going to be up to Yuki to try to maneuver themselves around the spear, but they're unable to do so. The downer doesn't connect, and neither does the nair. Back and forth, all missed hits, but there the recovery goes through, and now the spear is lost. The bow returns, and this is great for the anti-aerial. All it takes is one recovery, not even that. A nair to take down Yuki. And now, again, Bio, we're looking at possibly series stock.
Yeah, and you see like how awkward it is to get back against that spear. Even if you manage to dodge above, Ray's still able to cover that. Ray still has all the time in the world, so you can use to close this out right now. No weapon to work with. Picks up the guitars once again, but Ray is not relenting.
This is perfect for anti-guitars right now. Ray, weapon throw, down airs, whatever you want. The recovery, though, puts Yuki in such a bad spot. You have to confirm this stock, Yuki, but Ray's still on stage. It's all down to this ledge guard. If it succeeds for Yuki, we could go to a game 5. But no, the chip damage, it's still applied. More and more damage applied to Yuki. Both people in the battlefield, but neither one of these down sigs are connecting. The super punch comes out, and Ray brings it back.
Decked in the face. I mean, is there any better way to end a set?
I mean, not if you're Yuki.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And Yuki, like, they had one particular dodge read. They were so close, they just went the wrong direction. And if they got that, last stock situation, could potentially turn it around, but not in the cards today. Ray takes it 3-1. Fantastic first set. Go ahead.
I was really happy that Ray was not playing linearly, and I feel like that was the issue that Yuki has been having so far in Winter Champs, is that we've been seeing pretty telegraphed movements. I mean, the spacing has been controlled.